Hey y'all, what's going on? It's BarbMeetsWorld, and we're here to discuss the Real Housewives of Rhode Island, Season 1, Episode 1. Welcome to Rhode Island. I'm really excited to talk about this with you guys. I was pleasantly surprised. I really enjoyed this season premiere, this new franchise premiere. Y'all let me know what you guys think in the comments. But before we get into it, I do need you to like the video because it does help me in my channel in terms of the algorithm. It helps me attract new subscribers, such as yourselves. If you're not a current subscriber, hit the subscription button, become a Barb's Babe. I would love to have you. Also, while you're at it, drop down in the comments. Again, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this season premiere, as well as my commentary. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads, and share me with all of your people, y'all. And let's jump right on into it. Okay. Right here. Hi. Hello. Ooh. Okay, now. Okay. Anyway, yeah, y'all, I really enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I was going to. I have said that I was going to give it a feel, watch it, see how I liked it and stuff. I never want to get my hopes too high up, especially when it comes to Bravo shows, because you just never know what you're gonna get. But this one was good. If you guys didn't watch it yet, I would suggest maybe just giving it giving it a little bit of your time, checking it out. The second episode does come out on Sunday, but I really enjoyed it. I think that we have a good group of ladies on our hands. Shout out to Dolores, actually. Dolores from The Real Housewives of New Jersey. If you guys watch that, you know who Dolores is. Black Dolores. Yeah, that Dolores. Dolores from Patterson. Yeah, that's Dolores. She actually played an integral component in getting all of these ladies together. We kind of see how she is associated to the group. We did see her on this season premiere. We saw pretty much all of the ladies except for one. And here we are. Okay, so pretty much all the ladies are as follows. We have Alicia, we have Ashley, we have Dolores, like I said. Rulla, she's the only one that we didn't get introduced to on this first season premiere, I should say. But we are going to, I'm assuming, get to know her in Sunday's episode. We also met Rosie, Joelen, Liz, and we have Kelsey. So I think it's a really good group of ladies. It's a good amount of ladies, I would say. 7, 8 ladies, I think, is always a good amount to work with. And right off the bat, we see what the dynamic is. We see who's cool with who's really not really checking for this one or that one. We really got a more firm understanding, I would say, right off the bat with them. So I'm here for it, y'all. I'm really here for it. And when I say I was sitting on the edge of my seat further and further towards the TV with every little thing that was said, every bomb that was dropped, I was inching closer and closer to the TV. I can't even lie, because I was not expecting to hear a couple things that we heard. And obviously we're getting into it here in a second. But right off the bat, I'm thinking, okay, if this is how you're coming on the season premiere, if we're getting introduced to sugar babies and all this on the season premiere, what else is in store for the rest of the season? I loved how several of them were unapologetic about what they have going on, about who they are and stuff like that. I always love to see people come onto shows and lean into the truth and actually come on trying to be transparent, because we can sit here and say all day, oh, this is reality TV. You guys are supposed to show us your real lives, but we can count on however many hands, how many times people come on these shows and don't really show us their real life, you know? So I I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good if you can't tell. Hey, Samantha. Samantha said, I'm so excited about this one. Me too. And actually watching it the second time around, it was interesting because watching it when it initially aired versus the second time around, some of the people that I was kind of liking or kind of looking at it one way, I started to kind of look differently at them the second go around. So I already know we're in for a treat. We're in for our emotions to be all over the place, I feel like, behind these ladies this season. But anyway, y'all, let's jump into it. So boom, we first jump into things with Alicia. She is she's from there, and she has a 9-year-old daughter named Selena, and she's also there with Bill, who's her fiance of 9 years. We'll get into that in a second. He owns restaurants. She's Italian, very, very Italian. Trust me, I know a lot of Italians. Mama is very Italian. She has 6 aunts, and she, like I said, she's from Rhode Island. Right now, she lives in Providence, which let me see if I can find it real quick, see where the map is, because obviously, y'all know, Rhode Island being the smallest state we have, it's very, very tiny. It has a lot of coastline, but it's very tiny. So I don't know about y'all, but I know I laughed when her family was coming on over in the SUV and was talking about, oh my God, I could, it's taken years and years and light years to get to her house because they're all originally from Cranston, which is about 15 minutes away from where she moved to. And they were just acting like it was the longest journey of their lives. I also peeped her aunt getting down with that flask back there. I was like, okay, excuse me. I guess it's party time. I guess it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Not mad at it. That was funny to me. As Samantha said, I also watched it twice last night and again today. I'm just obsessed. We're definitely in for a treat. It's about time. Okay, so we see each other. I'm really happy to see that. Hey, Andre, Liz McGraw looks like Dolores. I like her. So, okay, a lot of people were like, oh my God, how are we going to be able to see them, tell them apart? Like, I don't know who's who. And, they all look alike. And I guess, sorry, y'all. I guess I would say I kind of felt like that, I guess, initially, because we didn't really have any of the backstory. We didn't get to really see them in action, but I can tell them all apart now. I got all the names down. I can tell them apart. I kind of know what's going on in each of their lives and stuff like that. So it's not really hard for me to follow along now, but I know some people are still online talking about how they're having so much trouble keeping up with who's who, and this one looks like that one looks like this one. And again, to your point, Andre, yes, I can see why Dolores and Dolores and Liz can maybe get mistaken for one another or get mistaken for sisters. I could see that very easily. I mean, she did say they go to the same surgeon now, so I mean, maybe she used Dolores as the inspo pick. I don't know, but I see what people are getting at when they say that. What else? I wanted to say something else, but then I lost it. Anyway, jump back into the episode. Actually, let me turn my air on because, see, I'm so excited. I'm getting hot, y'all. So, yes, her family comes on over. She says that her grandfather, he was very well known in the area. He owned a bakery, restaurants, etc. And when her family comes in, they pretty much get right to it. And they're asking her, when are you going to get married? Are you going to get married over here? She's like, And I'm just like, girl, just tell them that she didn't really seem like she just cared, probably. And I'm not going to say that he being Bill just threw a ring at her because she was pregnant, because she does say that they've been engaged for the past 9 years, ever since she was 7 months pregnant. And I mean, some people, like, there's just no urgency with it. Well, I don't know if we'll get more into that as the season progresses, but I mean, if it works for her, whatever. But clearly her family, I guess they're been being more traditional. They're like, hey, like time is ticking. We ain't getting no younger. What's up? And also maybe that could also play into why they haven't done it as well, which is because maybe like her family, like when you want to do something or whatever, but it's like so many people in your business and so many people like urging you to do it just makes you not even want to do it anymore or whatever. It has the opposite effect on you. Maybe it's a little bit of that. I don't know, but that did happen. And she's also connected. I mean, I can't say also connected because I guess they're all connected at this point, but she then brings us over to Liz, who actually, before we get into that, let me say, did anybody else think that Alicia looked like a 40-something-year-old version of Hailey Bieber, or was it just me? I feel like they kind of favor each other a little bit. Y'all let me know in the comments. But yeah, jumping back into things to say Liz, she loved her home. Her home actually reminded me of the same like color palette, the same kind of aesthetic that Melissa's home from The Real Housewives of New Jersey. Yeah, her that kind of gave me those same vibes. Right on the water. Mama had her own personal dock out there. She was walking her cat. It was a lot going on, but I like Liz. I really like Liz so far. I mean, I don't want to live that close to my neighbors or whatever, but again, her house was nice nonetheless. Long story short, she says people call her blunt. People call her kind of scary as of late, but I like how she I don't know, she still seems she had good energy about her. I will say that regardless of those things. I didn't really get that vibe just yet, but again, it's only episode 1. But she lets us know that somewhere down the line, you would never think that her and her husband are related, but somewhere down the line, they are. They did their ancestry about 6 months into their marriage. And so they found out that, they are in fact related. And it goes back like generations and generations. Y'all let me know, would that throw you off? Would that be grounds for divorce? Would you guys just be like, nah, let's just not tell anybody? Would you be bothered by that? I mean, we have other and shout outs to Mary. I hope you're doing, as well as you can, obviously, being in mourning over there in Salt Lake City. But if we have the Marys of the world that are married to their step grandfather, so this isn't the first time we've heard of a interesting marriage setup, I guess. But at least I guess they didn't know each other to know that they were related. Like if it wasn't for the ancestry, I guess they would have never known. But I would love to hear how you guys feel about that. I don't know. Like I would just I would be like, of all people. But honestly, that who knows? That might be more common than we think, y'all. I would love to look up the statistics on that. I wouldn't be surprised if more people are related down the line than we would think. But nonetheless, her husband Jerry, he was cleaning up cat poop, whatever. But she says that he has 3 daughters. They don't have any kids together. I don't believe she has any kids at all. But she at first was not really getting with the whole stepmom thing. It was a lot. It was lots to take on and stuff. She was forgetting this one wasn't in a car. She was, making lunches, doing this, doing that. But obviously I like to think now that she's stepped into the motherly role, into that maternal role more fully. And they're just one big happy family, I'm sure. So she also lets us know that they own a cannabis dispensary. I think it was called Slater's, right? And it was actually they were actually one of the first to do so on the East Coast. And they went by there. The guy was back there mixing, doing this and doing that and stuff. It was looking like a science experiment. So it seems like they really doing it for real. And I mean, from the looks of their house and from the looks of Mama's Prada boots and Prada hat, they know what they're doing over there. So shout outs to them and their cannabis business. Like my good sis California Cutie said, y'all smash the like button, please and thank you. Okay. So Liz is cool, right? So as I said before, she has her own personal dock and stuff like that. Goes out there, she jumps on a little dinghy, and she's like, hey, about to go over to East Greenwich, to have lunch, which kind of threw me off, being from, Jersey, being from the East Coast. Like when she said East Greenwich, I pictured like a whole other idea in my head. But nonetheless, she's meeting up with Kelsey, who, baby, when I say Kelsey left no holds barred, y'all. Kelsey got a lot going on, okay? Okay, so first of all, Liz actually grew up with Kelsey's boyfriend. There's a bit of an age gap between them because obviously if they grew up together, he's more of her age, which, oh man, y'all, I forgot to upload so many different pictures. Let me show you guys real quick the age breakdown, because I did come across this as well. And actually Liz touches on that too. She is the oldest out of the group, while Kelsey is the youngest. I love the age dynamic on the show. I think we have a good blend of ages. We have a little bit of the young with the more mature, with the in between. Like I'm cool with it. I'm cool with the age breakdown. But Liz, she's 55, and then we have Kelsey, who's 31. So her boyfriend is, obviously like 55, right? And when I say she lives a life of pure luxury, baby, when she let us know that they got 4 kitchens, 79 TVs, bedrooms in a different zip code. She's laying out by the pool, 16,000 square feet. Okay, you heard me, 16,000 square feet. I didn't stutter. So when she said all that, I was like, oh yes, this is what we're missing. When we say we want to see luxury, we want to see we want to see how the rich are riching. This is what we mean when we say we want to see that. Bravo. I love to see it. I love when the ladies are just, unapologetically just living their fabulous lives on these shows. So again, shout outs to you, shout outs to Dolores, shout outs to the network for bringing us a good example of what Housewives was originally supposed to be, right? Yes, very extravagant lifestyle. Love it. I'm braiding, sis. I'm in the bushes. It's all good. You make that money, do your thing. I understand. Her boyfriend is he's from a very prominent family, y'all, in Rhode Island, which allows her to, live this lifestyle. Obviously, they met on a boat when she was 19. They've been together pretty much ever since her past 10 years. They was making out all night long, 2 hours straight when they first met. And so he's actually the one that pushed her to be named Miss Rhode Island. I got to look that up too. I wonder when that happened. I got to look into her backstory with that. But actually, on the flip side, she's alone for about 5 months out of the year because in their unorthodox relationship, he spends those 5 months down in Miami with somebody else. Okay, so she, she's very aware that she lets Liz know, I should say, that she's always been under the impression that she's just in his life for however long he wants her to be in his life. She accepted that he's probably, not going to really change. And, some things that she signed up for and she was cool with at one point, she's now kind of in a different space in her life. She's wanting more commitment from a person. And so she really has to figure out how she wants to navigate that. And, she does love him, but the hardest part of stepping out into the unknown and is leaving, her comfortable life and all of that. So she's at a crossroads. There was, a lot of people saying like that, who would want that? That's not cool, whatever. Everything's not for everybody. It seems like, everybody knew what was up from the get-go. No secrets in that regard. Apparently she also has another boyfriend, on the side too, or whatever. So I'm like, okay. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it if that's the case. If I was her, I definitely would have been stacking my coin in the meantime, just because, like, you never know. Even if this show didn't come about, like, I would always, I'm leaving here with something, okay? So I would have a little something in the bank or whatever. There's nothing wrong, again, for wanting different at this point in time. Maybe, it was good for the time being, and now it's time to part ways. She's obviously going to amass a huge amount of success based on this show. So she'll have that going for herself. And like we always say, Housewives 101 starter pack is get on the show, get a couple seasons under your belt, and then hit them with those divorce papers. Well, I mean, usually when they're divorced, or in this case, they're not married. So hit them with the breakup, right? So maybe this is her way of trying to gain some stability and really just find some direction with stuff. Or, and who knows, maybe when she does let him know, like, hey, I'm out, who knows, he might be trying to chase her after that point. I don't know. But what I do know is, shout out to the sleuths on social media, they done found this man's his identity. And apparently he's from a very, like she said, a very prominent family in the Rhode Island. He's the son of a very famous, a very successful, I should say, judge in Rhode Island, who has since passed away. But this is his true identity, supposedly. So not a horrible looking dude. We've definitely seen otherwise in these age gap relationships that we see on Bravo. I mean, it's not giving Bravo and Todd. It's not giving Erica Jane and Tom. Hell, it's not even giving like Mia and Gordon. Like this is actually like, okay, I guess so. I mean, if I was her, would I have, ever probably been looking this way? No. But again, that seemed to have worked for her for the last 10 years. It doesn't look like she's lacking in any regard, or like she hated her life, or like she was totally miserable or anything like that. I'm just taking it as she wants different going forward, and that's totally fine, I feel. But now that she knows that, she has to do what she needs to do to get up out that situation, instead of continuing to, at this point, knowing she wants something different, knowing that she's hung up on this. If she continues to stay in this situation, I feel like she'll be doing a disservice to herself. You see what I mean, y'all? If she knows at this point, I want something more committed, I want, to be somebody's only one, I want to be in a monogamous relationship. If she continues to accept anything less of that, and especially, like she said, knowing that he's probably not going to change, then we could say she's cheating herself. Then we can say that's not, probably how you should be doing it. But obviously that's going to be a big topic of conversation this season. Moving right along, we meet Joelen, y'all. And Joelen, no shade right off the bat, like, just, I don't know, something about her face, something about her just told me, yeah, she gonna be the one. She is going to be the one. And I don't feel like I was wrong with my assumption whatsoever after watching this episode. But what I will say is I was looking at her a little bit like she's gonna be the one and I'm not gonna be here for it. But after watching it the second time, I'll say that she's going to be the one, and I can kind of pick up some of what she was laying down, if you know what I mean. So, and I'll get into that a little bit here in a second. But when we first meet her, I don't know, I guess they're having like a date night, her and her husband. His name is Gary, right? Is it Jerry or Gary? No, Gary. And she says that they met in high school. She was a freshman. He was a senior, and he wasn't really, he was just to her, to the point that she was determined to lock him down and marry him. And after some time, that became her reality. And I was just like, the only thing the whole chase of it all, I'm like, like I wouldn't admit that to nobody. Like, I ain't about to chase nobody. Sorry, I'm not. So that's definitely where we differ. But nonetheless, she did say, like, casually that he did know her sister or whatever. Okay. But her mouth gets her in trouble, people. She can't seem to keep a secret. She has 3 kids and she works in aesthetic sales. So she, her partner or whoever, they sell the devices and instruments to the med spas, to the dermatologists, whoever. And then she comes in and actually is hands-on in teaching them how to work said instruments and devices. So she loves working. She likes to be able to spend her money how she wants or whatever. She likes, not having to depend on her husband for money or whatever. Shout outs to her. That's cool, whatever. And again, I just knew something was going to be up with her from the get-go. Just something, I don't know. Something was there, y'all. Something was there. And I don't think I was wrong in saying so. But before we know it, we head back to Alicia's house, and she introduces us to Rosie, who is the other person. I was like, ooh, what's going on there? Messy. And in the beginning, it's like when I first watched it, I had it flipped. I kind of was looking at Joelen more so like the messy one that I couldn't really, I don't know if I'm able to get behind what you're putting down. And more so I was seeing Rosie's point of view, I feel like, more on stuff. And then when I watched it the second time, y'all, that switch where I was like, okay, Joelen, I got you. Rosie, however, you little mess. You little messy. And don't let me figure out you're a little manipulative on top of that. I don't know, but we are introduced to her in this scene. They've known each other for about 2 years. Alicia met Rosie through her best friend who did her Botox or whatever. They've grown closer within the past year. And and then before that, she knew of Rosie because she was the newscaster girl. And I don't think that she formally does that anymore at all. But all the older men or all the older people know of her or have crushes on her because, they watch the news, they know who she is. They're always recognizing her out and stuff. But she's married also to Rich, I think is her husband's name. Is she married to Rich? Yeah. Right? Yep. Rich. And they've been married for a year at this point. She says he does it's giving jack of all trades. He does flipping houses with his uncle. He DJs, he sings. He is a Frank Sinatra singer specifically, which I'm like, I actually really like Frank Sinatra's music. Anyway, so I thought that was cool. Not an impersonator though. And so her and Alicia are there. They put on these bounce shoes, which y'all, I literally have some in my cart right now because I've been actually wanting some of those for a while. And when I seen them, I was like, okay, maybe this is my sign. I'm just supposed to get them. Anyway, they go out, get a little cardio in, whatever. When they sit down, however, Rosie, she lets Alicia know how concerned she is about having Joelen at her event or whatever tomorrow. And Alicia, she admits to being someone who doesn't always know how to put Joellen in her place. And I was like, I don't know. I don't get that, because if a person needs to be put in their place, they just need to be put in their place. And if I got to do it, I got to do it, but whatever. And this is when Rosie kind of breaks down the clique, because it's pretty much Alicia, Joellen being the queen bee in that clique. And then they got Liz and then Kelsey also. She wants to be friends with all of them. She, wants to be cool with them, but it's like, got to kiss the ring when it comes to Joellen. And I mean, she's willing to do that. I actually don't think there's anything wrong with having like a friend group or, being friends with, multiple people and stuff like that. Like I have friend groups and stuff, but, is anybody about to be trying to legit be in charge of the girls and thinking somebody's about to bow down and kiss the ring and, kiss ass to like one specific person or whatever? Like, no, we too grown for that. But I guess in a show like this, obviously, there might be more of, I don't want to say urgency, but there might be more emphasis, and there might be more of a pull to want to kind of be cool with the person or whatever. But I mean, it's a two-way street. It has to be reciprocal. And again, at the end of the day, we all grown. I don't owe you nothing. So, I mean, that's just how I see it. But Rosie, I mean, she still want to be friends with her. She still want to go about it however she wants to go about it. Then, I mean, I'm seated. I'm gonna watch. So, Alicia says Joellen, she's kind of insecure because she's so worried about being labeled a villain. She then like kind of like projects that or focuses on finding that out about like other people pretty much. And apparently Joellen had a couple of ladies over at her house for just like a casual, chill, sweatpants kind of day. And Joellen actually said some things that Rosie overheard, and she didn't obviously think she could hear, but Rosie heard her, and she didn't take too kindly to it. It wasn't really nice things she was saying. And so then tell me why, y'all. This was another thing that made me sit on the edge of my seat, because before we know it, they talk about how there's like this rumor going around or whatever about Joellen and her husband being swingers. I was like, what the people what is going on? What the hell? Swingers? Again, clearly we there's a lot of different relationship dynamics in this show, and I ain't judging nobody, but again, it was a lot for one episode. We got some polyness over there. We got some swingers over here. Like, what else are they going to show us? My goodness. But Alicia seems to be the one that she knows a lot of information. She looks like she's going to be the one to give us a lot of answers when we are kind of finding ourselves in like a gray area or something might not be completely adding up. I think she's going to be the one to kind of fill in those blanks for us this season. I think that's her role in the group, right? Because like I said before, Joellen lightly touched on the fact that her sister knew her husband or whatever before or whatever. She was very like nonchalant when she said that. And then we get to this point in the episode and we have Alicia saying, oh yeah, well, her sister, yeah, they go way back. Or what, how did she say it? Oh, not as close. She was close and cool with Alicia, but not as close and cool as she is with her brother-in-law, aka Joellen's husband, aka Gary. And I'm like, what the So again, I pose the question to you, y'all. Do you guys feel like that's inappropriate? What do we think? Do we feel like what did you think when she said that? I don't know. I kind of took it as, don't forget the one that was sleeping with Guy and ended up with his wife. And oh yeah. That was Kelsey. We're gonna get to that. My thing is, I don't know, like I get if we're like 85 years old and I guess, you know, you had like a juvenile relationship with a sibling, maybe when you guys were like in 8th grade, 9th grade, something like that. Okay, I guess. But the way Alicia put it, I don't know, it sounded too close to comfort for comfort. And I'm really hoping that that is not something that's currently a problem. Like I really wanted to assume that they were in more of a full-blown relationship, but some years ago. Like I want to pray that this is past tense, right? Did you guys take this as it was currently happening? It happened more recently? Like how did you take what she said when she said that? I really, really, really would love to know in the comments. Either way, like I said, Alicia's going to be that one that really sews up those gray areas, I feel like, for us this season. And she just proved it, I feel like, twice, at least two to three times in this episode alone. Moving on. It's now the day of Rosie's event. And when I tell you those little monogram gift bags were so cute, again, loving to see the money here, y'all. But she's doing like a beach setup type thing. I don't know if I said it before, but she now works as she has like a lifestyle segment that comes on Saturday and Sunday mornings. So it's kind of like a work event type thing that she's doing, where she's going to have like a posh picnic set up for the ladies. And so she's over there, she's speaking with Chief Salami Officer. That was her title. I didn't give it to her. That was her title. But she is talking to her, and then we have Alicia and Joelen both show up. Go figure. And Joellen's like, you know, obviously she's not too excited to be there or whatever. And or she says she's not a fan of Rosie, which I'm like, okay, I understand why Rosie feels away or whatever, but as far as we know, Rosie didn't say anything to Joelen about that when it happened at her party. So I kind of was like, well, Joelen, why do you feel a type of way to Rosie? Because if I invite somebody to my house, it's because we're cool. It's because like I do like them or trying to like them or whatever. So I was kind of confused why Joelen already had that energy as soon as she stepped out the car, being as though if I was her, last time I checked, I had you at my house. So are we not cool then? I don't know. Kind of weird. But anyway. And I'm like, don't be shading her view count or whatever. Like she might get a lot of live viewers on, like she said, I think it comes on at 6:30 a.m. on Saturdays and Sundays. So maybe that's where the real numbers lie. Okay. I'm trying to be unbiased. I'm trying to stick up and defend, and I'm trying to be unbiased, y'all. I'm trying to give and take the equal amounts from everybody. All right. Because this is only episode 1. So yeah. But we also are introduced to Miss Ashley, and she's carrying some munchkins. I was like, oh God, like, I wish I was on a diet. I want a donut. I want a donut so bad. Anyway, but her and Ashley, Rosie and Ashley, very good friends. They bond over millennial type things, right? And Rosie's like, the only difference between us is that she was on The Bachelor and she's, famous and whatever. So yes, Ashley was on The Bachelor in Paradise, and that's actually where she met her husband. And so they've been married for 6 years. They have 2 kids. He's originally from Rhode Island. She's a Virginia native, so she's still kind of, I guess, acclimating to Rhode Island. There's still like a lot of things she hasn't really experienced there and stuff like that. And I wasn't aware of people. I don't know anybody from Rhode Island now that I think of it. I don't think. My cousin, she went to school in Rhode Island for 1 year, and that's about the extent of my association with the state, to be honest, y'all. So that was news to me as well. But before we know it, they all sit down, and Joelen. So I will say, yes, did Joelen bring up Kelsey going through a lot of stuff? Yes, she did. She didn't specify or anything like that. I want to believe she wasn't being messy or anything like that, because after that, the way she handled it, I feel like if she wanted to be super messy and she wanted to let it all out there for real, make a moment at the expense of her good friend, she would have, based on how she acted after that. But I will admit she did bring up Kelsey first, whether despite how much detail she went into or not, she did bring her up first. So we have her saying that, and then she's like, they're like, what are you talking about? What's going on with her? What are you saying? Whatever. And she's like, she's just trying to figure out her future at 31. And, although Joelen says she can't keep a secret and people might look at her as a bitch, even though she's not a bitch or whatever, she really kept things vague. She kept it really vague about her friend. And she was just like, trying to kind of move the conversation along and not really give them too much detail as to what specifically is plaguing her good friend at this time. And I did appreciate her respecting her friend's privacy to that point, because I feel like a lot of different housewives, a lot of people on these shows would have been like, well, what's going on with her is, and they would have just let it all out like that. And it just would have been what it was going to be. But I will say, based on how she handled it in that moment, I like to think that means they have a genuine friendship enough in real life, I guess. Maybe whether that continues or not is something we'll have to watch and see. But I do feel like that was a test, and she actually passed that test in that moment. And it's actually Rosie that begins to kind of pry, because Joelen tries to move things along, and she's trying to now play a game of what they play, Never Have I Ever. And why does Rosie say, oh yeah, never have I ever been a polygamist? That's very specific. It's a very specific question. And this is when I watch it back, I'm like, oh, okay, Rosie, I see what you're playing at. And it's like the way she was saying these things, she was trying to be like nonchalant about it, or just trying to casually ask these questions or whatever, and not seem like it's coming from a bad place or something, or a judgmental place or whatever. But I do feel like yeah, you're full of it. You knew exactly what you were doing, Rosie, and you were just trying to be messy. And Alicia, she's also asking questions like, oh, like, do you get Christmas presents, or what do you get, double the presents? How do you spend Christmas and Thanksgiving and the holidays and do? And on one hand, I'm like, Alicia does seem, I don't know if I should say simple a little bit. She kind of does, maybe, on one hand. And then on the other hand, I'm like, I can understand also how people are like, well, no, was she also trying to add on to it or whatever? I guess only time will tell whether or not she's that type of person or not. But she did, casually just throw those things out there. And nosy Rosie, she was still probing, to the point that Joelen starts saying, well, you should ask her then. If you have so many questions about stuff, you should ask her. And because Joelen is, I heard she has a boyfriend. He has a girlfriend here and a girlfriend in Florida. No, like she's like really asking very like specific questions that to me sound like she already has made up her mind, or she already feels like she already knows something. And again, she's just trying to be messy. So y'all let me know what you guys think. But Rosie actually takes the opportunity to flip this back on to Joelen, and she's like, basically you're one to talk because you were the one that was talking shit about me to Kelsey at your party, and talking about how I bought cheap wine and all this other stuff, when in reality, I didn't even have to invite you here. Like, you didn't even have to come. Like, stop being mean to me. And then she starts like crying, but I don't really know if it was real crying because she had on glasses and I didn't really see any tears. And again, she's like, stop being mean to me. You're trying to turn everybody against me. And I was like, that's what made me kind of side eye her and kind of think like, is this girl are you gonna try to play like the manipulation card? Like, is that your defense with stuff? Because I'm like, it's one thing for you guys to have an issue or for you to not like how she's treating you or whatever, but this turned into she's trying to turn everybody against me. It was kind of like, I feel like I was laying down a bit thick, but I don't know. Y'all let me know. But at first, like, I really liked how Joelen wasn't truly buying it. She played along by saying, she didn't want to make her cry. I just want to, start over. Let's move on, et cetera, et cetera. And her way of solidifying that was by inviting her to the 4th of July festivities she's going to be having or whatever. And so they all put their hands in the middle or whatever, and that's just that on that for the time being. They tried to like toast it up to this, but the champagne bottle was empty. So I'm like, well, y'all might want to bring a couple extra bottles next time. And I'm like, that's only like half the group. So I guess y'all could throw them back. Okay, cool, whatever. To each his own. Anyway, continuing on with Ashley, we do finally pop into her, I don't want to say finally, like it's been like 12 episodes, but we do actually pop into her coffee shop. It's called Audrey's Coffee Shop and Lounge. And I don't know who I don't know who Audrey is, but she says that it's the second rated coffee shop in the country, like celebrity owned country. Why can't I talk? Celebrity owned coffee shop or restaurant or whatever in the United States, and only being second to Bon Jovi, which I'm like, okay, that makes sense or whatever. But as popular as it is, or highly rated as it is, I should say, it hasn't been a huge moneymaker for them. And I was just like, interesting. And so her husband, that's really been his passion and stuff. She's trying to tell him about the picnic. He's like super busy and, making coffee and doing all the things. She's popping her press-on nails off at the counter while trying to tell him about the little picnic and stuff, and how they're about to go to the 4th of July festivities that Joelen is throwing and stuff. And she tells him about how Joelen and Rosie got into it over the like $6 bottle of wine and stuff. And her whole thing is Ashley like felt like nothing was too wrong with that, or that's something she would have did or whatever. And I'm just like, again, y'all, you can't you shouldn't be like obviously policing gifts or like kind gestures that a person gives you or whatever. If I'm not even on the show and I would give somebody something better than that. Like I definitely was raised on like not coming to people's houses and events and different things empty-handed. I like to think I'm one of like the best gift givers. And no, does a gift need to be like super expensive or whatever? No, it doesn't. But I would assume you'd have more coins. You'd be putting more coins towards something like that on a show like this, again, where we want to see the wealth and all that. I like to to think, Rosie, yeah, you got more than $6. Like, what the heck? I did understand. I did kind of understand where Joelen was coming from when she said that, but I wouldn't have made like a big deal of it or anything like that. But I know, like, yeah, like I personally wouldn't have done that, but that's just me. Okay, whatever. I want to take the almost 4-hour drive just for an Audrey's coffee to check out the dispensary. I do want to check out the dispensary. I wish I wasn't on the whole opposite coast because I'm very curious the way he was mixing, and they look legit for real. So yeah, if I was over there, I would be right there with you, Samantha. So going back to the coffee shop though, thanks for bringing that up. Like she said, it's not really been a big moneymaker. It's very much his passion, even though she thinks he should leverage his social media. He should lean more into his influencer bag and stuff. He doesn't have as big of a following as she does, but he would be able to pull in like a good amount of money through that. But that's just not where his passion lies. And it's obviously going to, I feel like, be a major part of their story. So much so that, y'all, I don't want to be the person that gets up here and is quick to just be like, oh, divorce, and label that and throw that label on everybody's. I really don't want to be that type of person, y'all. Like, I promise you I don't. But it's clear something's got to change. And, you know, a person can only take so much. And she says he has kind of like scaled back on the hours or whatever, but he does still very much eat, live, sleep, breathe Audrey's coffee shop and lounge or whatever. So I think that's going to be a major theme within her storyline this go around. I do think we're going to obviously get into that more and more. But I think that's all for her. Joelen, she rented this house for the 4th of July. Although she tried to say she has no idea what 4th of July is, I'm like, I'm just gonna leave that there, y'all. I'm just gonna leave it there. But she said something. She brought up a major thing that I think is going to play into her storyline this season too, which is how her mom and her grandmother, they weren't very maternal to the point that like when she became a mom, like she didn't have any example or anything like to really go off of. So she just, you know, be winging it and hoping for the best and hoping her kids turn out for the best pretty much. And so I personally, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but whatever, it's about to come out anyway. I was thrown off. I'm like, so if you know that's a possibility, you know you don't want your kids to have that same experience with her as you did. I'm like, why even set things up for that to happen or whatever? It's clear there's going to be like a conversation with her and her mom, and then as I said before, like her and her sister, I don't know where they stand or what's going on between them based on what we've heard about her marriage and, you know, all that stuff or whatever. So I feel like this is why, y'all, this is why I love the fact that I realized this early on, and by early on, I mean in my 20s, that a person's relationship, like with their mom and like those important, like other female figures in their life and stuff like that. Like I always like to take that into account a lot of times when I'm dealing with people or when there's conflict with certain people or, you know, I see certain things in a person or whatever. I kind of always go back to like, okay, or using that to kind of go back and think like, okay, could this be why? Could that have played a part into why this person is showing up like this or why this person has these issues and other relationships in their life and stuff like that. So I think the way that Joelen shows up in the group has a lot to do with how she was raised, her relationship with her mother, et cetera, et cetera. She says not only just her mother and her grandmother, like they just weren't maternal in that regard. And I'm just like, I hate when I hear stuff like that. That sucks. But yeah, she's leaving the kids with them or whatever. And when they actually get to the party, while they were en route to the party, we also see Rosie and Ashley and their husbands en route to the party. And Rosie's so like proud of these like this firework bouquet, which I was like, okay, that was creative. And like, no, I would have accepted it. Like, that's cute, that's cool, whatever. But knowing me, like, especially again, we're on the show, like, I don't know, just where I'm at in life. Like, I don't know. I would probably have been more over top. Like, it would have been like a really big bouquet or something. Or like, if I would have had something like that, I also would have had like if I had a creative gift, I also probably would have had like something else, like maybe a nice bottle of wine too, or something. Just, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just extra. I don't know. But this was, a bigger attempt on Rosie's part, I guess. So they're on their way or whatever. And again, Joellen and her husband are on the way. And when everybody gets to the party, oh, thanks, sis. You give great gifts, sis. You were very thoughtful. I like to think so. I really do. I love to give a nice gift. I really do. Caviar, wieners. I'm like, okay, hey, I mean, I would have tried one. I've never had that. Okay, cool, whatever. But again, Joellen had rented this house in Portsmouth, and she had like a caricature like person there. She did like it was a really nice setup. But the first people to arrive were Alicia and her husband or whatever. They're like, hello. They come in. Well, how did Alicia pronounce it? She's like caricature. I don't know how she said it, but she didn't say it right. Okay. And this is when we are, well, I mean, this is obviously, if you've watched Jersey, this is not our first time being introduced to Dolores, but this is our first time being introduced to Dolores in a friend capacity on this show. So in comes Dolores with Liz. They are super cool. They met at a cannabis convention back when Frank was just getting into the industry, apparently. Frank being Doris's ex-husband or whatever, I guess. I didn't even know. Did I know he was in the cannabis industry? Maybe I did. Did that come up on Jersey? I don't even remember. It's been so long. But yeah, that's how they met. And they've gotten so close to the point that, like I said before, Liz goes to Dolores' surgeon. She goes to her same dentist and stuff. The caricature person thought that they were sisters, like the whole thing. So, and it seems as though Dolores is going to be, again, with her being the official friend of her and Paulie, they have a house for the summer in Rhode Island. So good for her or whatever. And even if they weren't talking about bringing Jersey back and stuff like that, clearly she's found a good home over here being a friend of on this show. So shout outs to Dolores. I know her pockets are looking good. And she won, not this past season of Traders, but the one before that and stuff. So she's been low-key doing her thing. If you guys watched my Jersey reviews, you know that like Dolores be working my nerves a lot of times. I can't lie, playing the middle and doing this and doing that and whatnot. But she seems like she knew what she was doing in making these money moves with this, helping assist putting this cast together or whatever. So I can't be mad at that. So Kelsey, as my sister said before, this is when we find out that Kelsey and Joellen go back since the tanning salon that Joellen worked at. Kelsey's friend had also worked there. And at the time, not only was Joellen sleeping with the owner, she was also sleeping with his wife. So I'm like, I think that if Joellen decides to write a book, like it seems like Mama has lived some life. So hey, I need to hear more. Like what, huh? What is going on, Joellen? Oh my God. So anyway, Dolores Liz, Alicia, Kelsey, and Joelen, they're having a chat or whatever. And obviously, this is when Joelen decides to tell Kelsey about what was said about her at the picnic. And it was obvious right off the bat that Kelsey felt some type of way. And you know, she was recently introduced to Rosie, and it's obvious to her that she's not really a girl's girl. She didn't really appreciate hearing this, obviously. So Dolores is like, you know, well, they just showed up. Let's go over there. Let's, you know, well, go be a good host or whatever. She tells Joellen this. So they go over there, say hi, hello, whatever. And again, Kelsey, she's, you know, visibly upset from my perspective, at least. Oh, actually, I moved on too fast. I should have said Dolores played a really, really good friend role because she kept the story going by saying like, well, why was Kelsey or why was Rosie asking this? Why was she asking about your relationship or whatever? Is there something going on with that? And Kelsey's like, you know, well, what did she say? Or Liz, she's like, you know, there's rumors. We all know that rumors aren't factual. And Kelsey's like, you know, the only thing that makes her upset is, you know, when people talk about her relationship or whatever. So she goes right off the bat into defense mode and kind of like shuts down, I guess, in that regard when it comes to Rosie as of right now. And so again, when they go over there, Rosie gives her gift to Joellen, and Joellen's like, thank you. That was so thoughtful and creative. And she's like, you know, that's not a gift I would have given someone, but you know, hello. So I'm like, oh my God, like watch this be an ongoing thing. Like watch this be an ongoing thing with her. Watch Rosie give her like some like elaborate ass gift at the reunion or something like that. Y'all mark my words. Ooh, oh my gosh, I wonder where the cast trip is gonna be. I feel like they're gonna give us a good one. I feel it. Anyway, so Alicia goes over to Kelsey and she's like, you know, are you good? How are you? What's going on? Like, want to check on you, see if everything's okay. And Kelsey's like, yeah, like, you know, I'm here. I always do on my own. I'm always, you know, showing up to stuff alone. And she's like, I heard that there were some questions about, you know, the type of relationship I have. And so Rosie, so if Rosie or anyone else has a question about polygamy, just know my relationship is from day one. There were rules. It was what it was. And, you know, I accepted a lot of things and, you know, that's just it. So Liz, she was also standing there. And again, she's the oldest. Kelsey's the youngest. She says that they protect one another and whatever. So Joellen and her husband, they take a minute, they FaceTime their kids and her mom or whatever to see if they're good or whatever. Apparently they're good. Like I said before, if there was even a concern, I don't even know why you are even trying, but whatever. And this is when Rosie or Kelsey the opportunity to tell her what Alicia told her, and Kelsey feels like Alicia's intentions aren't ill, but she's just not all the way there because before we know it, I didn't really understand why Rosie, I'm like, you see, you're messy because Rosie had brought Kelsey into, or not Kelsey, had brought Alicia into the conversation. So now Kelsey's like, you know, I don't know. She don't really know what to think or whatever. She's like, you know, Alicia, it's like, she's like not all there. And I'm like, see, that's why I was trying to get at before when I said, it's like, I think she might have called her ditzy or whatever, but yeah, it was given simple. It was giving, clearly, if they see it, I'm spot on, is what this told me. So Kelsey feels like Rosie's being calculated. And she's like, I know the difference between just asking questions and pretty much already having formed an opinion or a firm like answer on something. There's a difference, and there is. And I do feel like the way that Rosie was going about it at the picnic was very much like, I know I've heard these things. I know what I know, or I've convinced myself that it is this way, or whatever I heard, I believe is the energy she was giving. And I'm glad Kelsey kind of picked up on that. And I do feel like it's going to get a little heated between them. And I think that's also been confirmed based on the like preview of the season and the trailer like that we got, like where we see Kelsey and Rosie kind of like going at it later on. And I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if it has something to do with this. But anyway, finally, Kelsey approaches Rosie to ask if there's anything she should be concerned about. Rosie was like, I don't think so. Like, kind of being dense at first. And finally, Kelsey's like, just asked her straight up, like, I just want to know, how it was brought up or what was brought up about my relationship. And Rosie tries to claim that she was just asking. And it was actually Joelen that brought it up. So now Kelsey, we end the episode with Kelsey looking at Joelen weird, and they can't even finish the conversation because then Joelen comes over and it's like, let's do sparklers. And so it's just clearly it's not resolved. And I feel like this is going to be a big issue, at least going forward for a couple more episodes or whatever, y'all. Again, I really enjoyed this premiere. As you can see, I've been bumping my gums for the past hour. I'm gonna be right back down here. I will say, especially with Atlanta coming back on Sunday, followed by the second episode of this, I'm gonna have to break those up. Definitely gonna try to either do like Monday, Tuesday, or we'll see. So make sure your notification bell is on. But I wish they would have kept it on Thursday. I was kind of, I don't know, it could be a lot to keep up with two shows on one day, at least for me. So I'm trying to do the best and be as punctual as possible with that, y'all. But I'm here. I'm locked in. I think that we're gonna be in for a really good season with these ladies. I think we're getting back to the roots of it all and really getting back to what we like to see in the Housewives. I'm locked in. I feel like Rosie and Joelen would be the pot stirrers of the group. Yeah, most definitely. There's going to be a lot going on around them too. I think for sure. And I think Liz is like someone who's like cool, but like don't get on her bad side pretty much. Or like when she does get mad, like she probably gets like really mad. I feel like, which is kind of like the same with Dolores. I feel like Kelsey is going to get really pissed off if they keep trying to come for her with this, especially while she's still actively trying to figure things out with how she's navigating her relationship. And I'm excited to meet Rulla. She seems like she has a good little bit of something going on too between her and the husband, whatever. I don't know. I think we're gonna be entertained. I think we're gonna be entertained. I'm here for it. And yeah, so just be on the lookout, y'all. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Don't forget to thanks, sis. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, do all the things, y'all. I can't wait to come back down here and talk about things again with you guys for episode 2. But for now, I am out of here. I will see y'all later. Bye.